Hello everyone. In this video, we will be discussing object relationships in Salesforce. Basically, object relationships in Salesforce, it's a two-way association between two objects. So you can relate two objects to create an association between them to maintain a data structure, right? So a very simple example of it would be, for example, you have a client or a customer. You would create their a customer record in your accounts object, right? For example, let's just say Burlington Textile Corp of America, that's my client. And I have their record right here. If I go into their record, I can see all of their information. They're my customer. Now, I also want to store more information about them, such as who is who works there, who is my point of contact, what what business opportunity do I have with them. So there are a lot more things that you may want to store regarding your customer, right? Regarding Burlington Textiles. So for that, you can use different objects. For example, there's a contact object in Salesforce, which allows you to store people information, right? So if you want to store information about an employee or the person or a point of contact from Burlington Textiles, you can simply create a contact record in Salesforce with, the person's name, their email address, and phone number, etc. And you can even create multiple records, right? And now, when you create the record, you also need to be able to associate them with each other, right? Something that tells you that, okay, this person here, that this is their name, their email address, their phone number, all their information. They work for or they're associated to Burlington Textiles. And this is all the information for Burlington Textiles. So you need an association. To create that association, we use object relationships in Salesforce. So if I quickly show you over here, you can see we're in an account record, Burlington Textiles. If we go to related, we can see, okay, Burlington Textiles is related to Jack Rogers, or Jack Rogers is related to Burlington Textiles. Now, if I were to click on Jack Rogers, I'd be able to see all of his information. I have his phone number. I could save his home phone mobile if I had that information. I know his title, fax, his email address, mailing address, everything, right? Whatever I want to store on this guy, I can store over here. And I can also see that, okay, Burlington Textile Corp of America. This is the account or the company that he's related to. So I know this is where he works. So now how do we do this? By using relationships in Salesforce, right? I hope that's clear. And obviously there are a lot of different kind of examples where you might need to associate two or more objects with each other to create a data hierarchy of some sort, right? So so now how many types of object relationships are there? In Salesforce, there are two types of relationships that we can use. A lookup relationship and a master detail relationship. A lookup relationship is simply a loosely coupled relationship in Salesforce, which allows you to associate two objects but not make the two dependent on each other or not make them too dependent on each other, right? For example, right, the example that we're seeing right now, Mr. Jack Rogers, we know he works for Burlington Textiles. Now, for some reason, let's say he quit Burlington and he went to work somewhere else. We could simply click on this pencil icon, remove Burlington Textiles, and we could, let's just say, give it any other, or we could probably find out new accounts we can create a new account for him. Let's call this, let's say he's now working for a company named Hooli Corp, and we can fill out whatever information we need to. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit save, leaving everything else empty right here. So now we have Mr. Jack Rogers is now associated to Hooli Corp. This is a lookup relationship. So the standard relationship between accounts and contacts is a lookup relationship. Now, what's the difference between lookup and a master detail? To understand that, first we need to understand the data hierarchy of our relationship. So there is a parent object and a child object. In this case, our parent object is account and our child is contact. So the object that has this lookup field is supposed to be or is going to be our child object. The reason being is a child can only have one parent, but a parent can have multiple child. So it's basically lookup relationship is basically a one to many relationship. And it's also a loosely coupled relationship, which means at some point you can associate the child with a different parent record. The child cannot does not always have to be associated to that one parent. It can be associated to another parent and remove the first relationship as well. Whereas master detail, that's completely different. That's a tightly coupled relationship. You cannot edit the child or parent relationship when it's a master detail. So master is the parent object, detail is the child object. If, for example, contact and account had a master detail relationship, and account was the master, contact was the detail or the child, it would not let us change their relationship. So if it's related to Huli Corp, it would not let me change it to anything else if it was a master detail relationship. In a case like that, we would not be able to edit the relationship out. Another limitation of master detail is that a detail record must always have a master record. That means a child cannot exist without a parent. Consequently, hypothetically, if account and contact were master detail, we would not be able to create a contact unless we filled out this field, unless we knew that who Jack Rogers or any other contact is associated to. It is mandatory to associate the detail record with a master. However, in lookup, you do not necessarily have to have a parent. You can only have a child, and that child could be independent with no parent record associated with it, right? So that was a very basic example and a very basic explanation of how object relationships work in Salesforce and what kind of object relationships that we have. So there are two, as we mentioned, lookup relationship and master detail. Lookup is a loosely coupled relationship. It's a one-to-many relationship, and it has a lot of leverage, which means that you do not necessarily have to have a parent associated with the child. And even if you do, you can always edit out the relationship between a child and a parent. It's not written in stone once you've created that record and created that association. However, master detail, it's also a one to many relationship, but it is a tightly coupled relationship, which means a child cannot exist without a parent. And once you've associated your child or detail record with a parent or a master record, you cannot edit that. So yeah, that'll be all for this video. Thank you.